So now the next heading is group discussion. So now this is very important. GD, as we say, GD is very important because as students, once your program is, completed, and once you've done your studies, obviously after, on the completion of your program, definitely you all are going to look for your jobs. And so when you look for jobs, GD is a very important part of it. So we need to understand what is GD. It's a kind of a technique that is used by all the corporate companies and educational institutions and organizations, whereby they have to judge the participant. What sort, because obviously eventually it is the companies, it is the companies, the industry that decides whom to take and whom not to take. So obviously GD is a part of it, and it speaks of, and definitely the skills that comes through it is the effectiveness of your communication. So definitely GD is a very important part of your career. And obviously any company, many companies, they make GD as a very, it becomes the first criteria, for screening the candidates. At time it could also, mean, it could be, an elimination round also, because when the candidates are in large numbers, there are too many candidates. So obviously a structured and panel interview cannot take place for so many entries. So basically what does company do is, first they hold GDs and then they eliminate as many as they want to, and then the next step is the panel interview. So obviously, but now it is seen that group discussion could be also the first criteria for screening. And as you say that when you go for GDs, you have to really understand that your first impression that you give has to be the best, because that is the last impression. A miss here and a miss there, that you can lose the job. So this is very important, that how you're going to present yourself for GDs. So you see GD looks like there's a moderator. There could be a group of 8 to 12 candidates who have applied. Candidates very similar to of your background, to your qualifications. And then here you have to, they are all, everybody, all the participants are taken in a room, and they are made to sit, and there's a moderator who announces the GD topic, and time is also allotted to you. A total time of GD could be 20 minutes to 30 minutes at the most, and they give you 1 to 2 minutes to prepare on the topic. And it's very, very crucial. And then they give you time to discuss, all the participants, they discuss their viewpoints. Then what are the features? So group discussion is a very group activity. Need to understand that it is very, very reliable, and is a testing device. It tests your abilities, how well how good you are, not just in your communication. Of course, the effectiveness of your communication skill is important, but other than that, we'll see that there are so many other skills, that the recruiter is searching in you. It's a kind of not a formal discussion, but it is an informal discussion. And group discussion, there's no leader. It's a leaderless discussion. So now we see that they see, of course, how good you are, while communicating. So what are the things that they see? They see your behavior, how you're interacting in a group, whether you're open-minded or you're a close-minded person. Your listening skills are very important. Supposedly you're not very familiar with the topic that they've given you. First, you need to really listen very well to all the speakers, and towards the end, that you can, after you've heard, you can briefly write down the points, and then you can speak on it, and even question the speakers and the participants who are there. And you have to put forward your views, and it has to be done with a lot of mannerisms, with a lot of decorum. You don't have to fight, you don't have to argue. It has to be with a lot of goodness, that you have to be there. And of course, what are they seeing? They're seeing whether you can be a good leader, whether you have the decision making skills, you have the knowledge of your subject, how analytical you are, because depends, there could be different topics that they can give. So based on the topics, it's very crucial that they see the problem solving skills, if you have any critical thinking skills, that they check for how, what is your attitude, how alacrity is there in you or not, how confident you are, how motivated you are, how expressive you are, how dynamic you are. So all this goes into account. So start preparing for your GD right away. This is the time, students, let me tell you. And what are the skills? Is interpersonal skills. Interpersonal is when two people talk, how well that you can put across your view to the other person, and whether you have the leadership quality or you don't have the leadership quality. So of course, listening, how well that you can listen and absorb, and then you speak on that topic. And convincing, you have to be very persuasive. Convincing is how well you can inspire, how well you can persuade your audience, whosoever is present there. Then you have to be very knowledgeable, you have to be very well read. So start practicing now, because knowledgeable and being very well read is very important. Why? Because unless that you have knowledge on the subjects, because any topic can be given to you, and you have to be very, very well prepared. So how would you do that, unless that you start preparing for your GD right away? Then see, what is like really given here is that group discussions can be divided into 4 different topics now. First is factual. So factual is all the relevant everyday, any fact, it has to do with facts. So it could be an everyday topic. Here any everyday topic can be given to you, and then you would be asked to speak on it. Opinion based is very, it could be opinion based is actually has to do with any your opinion, where they want your opinion. So it could be a case study, it could be factual, it could be even abstract for that matter. So they want to know what is your opinion, and opinion will vary from one candidate to the other. Case studies are given where a particular situation that they will put forward before you, and then based on that situation, based on that case, they can always ask you questions. And abstract has to do with any abstract idea, any philosophical ideas that they can put forth, like red is better than blue, for example. So it has to do with color brand, color theory. So you need to be very well read before you go in for any GD sessions. What are the do's and don'ts? That certain do's and don'ts are, this is very, very important, that because they are evaluating a candidate on a certain personality traits and skills. So it could be also a weapon of elimination. So one has to be very, very careful, because if you're going to go, and because obviously this is just a stepping stone to your dream jobs, you need to understand that you're going to get a placement after GD. So obviously you have to be very, very careful. What are the things to be kept in mind? So how to prepare and the correct manners. So the mannerisms are very important, the etiquettes that you need to adopt. So the non-verbal cues, you need to be very familiar with non-verbal communication, not just verbal, the spoken, but also the non-verbal. Non-verbal has to do with, of course, your posture, your gesture, your facial expressions, your paralinguistics, paralanguage, which enumerates your tone, your intonation, your pitch, your volume, your disfluencies, your fluencies, how you present yourself, the mistakes that you're making. You have to be very minimal, do not have to make any fatal mistakes. So you have to be very well prepared. Things to do is you have to speak, we have to be very, very polite, and you have to respect the contribution of all the members, who are present there. And you have to have a very inclusive body language. Inclusive body language is where you have to greet everyone, and you have to give a smile, and you have to nod, and you have to be very agreeing. And even if you disagree, there has to be, it has to be there has to be a manner to it. You cannot just be loud. And you can, of course, once the topic is given to you, disagreement will definitely come, but let there be no arguments. And you have to be very firm, and you have to stick to whatever you disagree with. And a lot of mental revisions while the group discussion is on. You keep hearing, listening is very important, and you keep hearing and keep doing some mental revisions in your mind. And you have to just be very, very relevant to the theme. Do not digress. Theme se apne kabhi bhi mat hatiyega, and don't run after any irrelevant. Apni trajectory ko, apne path ko kabhi aapko digress nahi karna. You have to just stay on the same path, on the same theme, on the same discussion, and don't digress, and don't put in anything not irrelevant. and certain mannerisms, as I told you. So non-verbal cues you need to familiarize yourself with. And temper nahi lose karna, you don't have to be loud and don't have to lose your temper. There could be any argument, there could be differences, but then with whatever differences that they are there, you have to maintain your peace, and you have to, even accept and take into your stride with whatever the others are saying. You have to take it in your stride, but you need not agree with them. So and let your tone be very very moderate, and also your pitch has to be medium. Your voice need not go very high. Let the pitch of your voice be very controlled and very balanced and very educative. That is what is important. You don't have to interrupt. If anybody is speaking, don't interrupt in between, and don't stop the person from speaking. Wait, and first you have to wait a little, and once the person has spoken, then you have to speak. And there should not be any loud gestures. You have to keep in mind that don't have to point fingers, and table thumping need not be there. So whatever so we have to understand that the concept is why GD is conducted. So it is conducted, it is kind of an entrance exam that you can say for the candidates, if they want to enter any academics, wherever that they want to. And it sort of tests your soft skills and your ability to how well that you can cope in very difficult circumstances. And because obviously conflicts can be raised, and issues they can give you very challenging topics, and those challenging topics needs to be dealt with very carefully. So obviously so they are just testing your skills, whether you have certain traits or you don't have certain traits, and you really do not know what are they like really looking for. And there could be a mass elimination. Students and participants can be eliminated in large numbers. So and GD, definitely the format of GD varies from one institute to the other institute. So you have to be very careful. Every step, every movement, every bit of you is being constantly, watched, and every movement of yours. So you have to be very careful, tread very carefully, and just do your best, and be your best is what is really needed here. And time management is important, and contribution, how well that you've contributed to the group is important, how well that you've maintained your body language, and how well that you were able to include others as well. Because a true leader is one that who does not just go on speaking about himself and herself and the topic, but a true leader is one who empowers others and allows the others to speak, and then can question and re-question and rephrase and include everybody, and then put in your views forcefully and believe in whatever that you are saying, and do not digress from your belief systems. The best leader is the one who believes in himself or herself, and as well give others a chance to speak. So you're a team player. This is very important.